Hello, Railers fans. Happy to talk with you. Cam McGuire here for our first installment of the Railers Roundup as we introduce the new members of the 2020-21 Worcester Railers. And today I'm pleased to be joined with the first signee of the offseason, Jordan Smotherman. And Jordan, before we get into the nitty-gritty of things, congratulations on becoming a Railer.
Thanks. I'm pretty excited to be coming back home.
Absolutely, and let's look back to this season for you. You're out in Northern Ireland with the Belfast Giants, so obviously some unprecedented times. Your guys' season ended shortly, just like everyone else's, but you were off to another great year, 36 points in 47 games. And talking offline with you, you guys just had a couple games left before playoffs. How did things end over there for you, and when did you get back to the States?
So it was a quick turnaround. I flew out of there within 2 or 3 days after they canceled the season to make sure that I got back in the country before they started stopping flights on us and things like that. Definitely a disappointing way to end the season. I know you guys felt that here the same way. So certainly itching to get back on the ice here soon.
Well, Railers fans might remember you from your days with the Manchester Monarchs, where you spent 2 seasons playing up in New Hampshire. But as we mentioned, you spent the last 2 seasons playing overseas. Can you talk about your return and your decision to come back to the States and ultimately play for the Worcester Railers?
Obviously with everything that was going on, the opportunity to play close to home is an incredible one. Worcester's been on my radar since playing against them a few years back. I've seen what that organization has done, how much has helped the city of Worcester. The progress it's made as a club over the last 2 or 3 years. And so for me, it was a natural fit. And I reached out to Mizey pretty quickly after I got home and started talking to him a little bit. And then in the last couple of weeks here, the decision went through.
Well, you mentioned your relationship with Railers COO Mike Myers. Can you also touch on your relationship and your talks with the general manager and head coach David Cuniff? Because I know that was a very attractive piece for you signing with the Railers.
Absolutely. I had a couple talks with Cunning early on where he talked to me about the direction the team really wants to go and the idea that they really want to bring a winning team to Worcester with everything that the ownership has put into the team, into the city, that it's really important for them to build a good foundation here and a winning tradition. And that sold me pretty quickly. He talks a lot about the importance of development with players and coming as an older guy. It's something that I'm excited to be a part of. I think it's a huge part of the game. And something that I really look forward to.
Well, you're gearing up for your 15th professional season. We touched about the time overseas. You spent a ton of time in the American Hockey League, a stint in the National Hockey League with the Atlanta Thrashers. For fans that haven't seen you play for a while, can you just touch on your game? Because it seems like a lot of tools. You can put the puck in the net, not afraid to drop the gloves either, and I'm sure fans will be happy to see that here.
I like to play a bigger man's game. I certainly like to put the puck in the net. I'm just looking to contribute wherever I can, and wherever kind of needs me. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to play close to home in front of a bunch of friends and family, which is certainly going to amp my game up a little bit every night, knowing that some close people to me are there watching.
Well, you talk about coming back home, and for you, you've got an interesting background. Everywhere you look and everywhere you try to find out where you are. Technically, it's Corvallis. Am I right? Corvallis, Oregon.
Yep.
But you moved around when you were a kid, and from what I know, grew up a little bit in New York and kind of right down the road in Westboro, Mass. as well. Can you kind of elaborate for us here?
Yeah, so I was born in Corvallis, Oregon. My dad was teaching at Oregon State University out there, and then he transferred to SUNY Binghamton. So I grew up in Binghamton, New York. I'm sure the Worcester hockey faithful know the Binghamton American League teams from back in the day. So that's the hockey I grew up watching. And then when I was 12, 13, we moved to the Westboro area. And I've been in and out of here since with my career. I actually went to school in Worcester. I went to Bancroft School for 3 years before leaving to head up to Quebec to play junior hockey. So very familiar with Worcester, still a lot of friends and family in the area. So it's a really exciting time for me.
Well, I'm sure they're going to be really excited to see you hit the ice at the DCU Center come October. And like you mentioned earlier, you've skated here a handful of times, whether it was with the Providence Bruins in the American Hockey League, the Manchester Monarchs in the ECHL. Are there some memories, maybe some games, some moments that stick out to you that you remember when you laced them up here on the other side of of the bench here at the DCU.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember my time in Providence. You guys had a crazy tough team in Worcester. It was never fun coming to play in the building those years. I got to play in the first home game for the Railers when I was in Manchester, which was a great experience. And then there was another night, actually, you guys had Bobby Orr come out to drop the puck, and I got to take that ceremonial face-off. I've got that picture hanging up actually at home, and that was a pretty cool memory for me. So lots of good memories in the DCU Center for me already. I'm looking forward to adding a few more.
We mentioned, obviously, you were a draft pick of the Atlanta Thrashers. That's a pretty cool feat to have, and you scored a goal in the National Hockey League, just your second game, and it's funny to go back and kind of pull the clips. They might not be the most high-definition ones, but hey, they're still out there. Talk about playing hockey in Atlanta, Georgia.
It was a cool experience. I mean, I always think it's kind of funny. It ages myself a little bit when I say that I play for a defunct team that's no longer. All of my gear is now considered vintage. But certainly an awesome experience to get to play in the NHL. I got to play my first game in front of my mom and dad. They flew down to Tampa for that. And then my brother and his wife were living in Nashville at the time, so they drove down to Atlanta, and they got to see my first game and my first goal, which is obviously a hockey memory that I'll cherish forever.
And Jordan, before it was the National Hockey League, it was the Quebec Remparts and the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. And you come from a background, obviously being from the States, and then not only going up to the Q, but going right into the heart of it, playing for the Remparts. So your name, Jordan Smotherman, but actually when you were playing in the Q, and I'm sure you've gotten this question a handful of times, Jordan LaValle, can you kind of describe that for us and kind of where that sparked from?
Yeah, so I mean, my full name, Jordan LaValle Smotherman. LaValle is my mother's maiden name. It's always been on all of my driver's license, my passport has always been the full name. And when I went up to Quebec, obviously being a French-speaking country, it was a natural fit to play with that on my jersey. My first 2 years pro and through my first call-ups to the NHL, it was Jordan LaValle, and they just kind of knocked the second half off. And then my dad passed away in my third year, pro. And so I decided to go back to Smotherman on the jersey, but it has always been the full name. And it's a funny story, actually. I hold an NHL record for the longest last name in the history of the league.
Did it fit shoulder to shoulder on the back?
They've never put the full thing on there. Manchester was the closest. They put an L with a dot before the Smotherman. So it's never fully been on there, but I've been rostered as the full name, and it's an NHL record as of now for the longest last name. My brother found an article a couple of years back and sent it my way, and I thought that was kind of funny.
Well, we'll have to work with Jeremy Turtle Holloway, the equipment manager. He's gonna have to start getting that jersey ready if he wants to fit all those letters on the back. But Jordan, you mentioned you kind of packed your bags once all this coronavirus and the unprecedented times occurred and headed back to the States. What have you been doing to keep busy, and have you been able to hit the ice at all and train a little bit here?
I haven't really gotten on the ice much. I got myself a pair of Mars blades, rollerblades they're supposed to help with your hockey stride as far as rollerblading goes, and I've been using those down a local basketball court in the park down the street. So that's been my close to on ice conditioning as I can get. But I've been working pretty hard. We're doing a lot of yard work around my mom's house here to stay busy and help her out. I bought a Peloton when this all started, so I've been riding the bike pretty hard nonstop. I'm fairly addicted to that. So itching to get back on the ice. Probably to start next week. Actually, I'll be heading into Worcester to do my workouts and hopefully get on the ice over at the Fidelity Ice Center there.
Well, Jordan, I know fans are very excited to finally have you announced as the first signee and see you hit the ice come the fall. Before I let you go here, aside from everything on the ice, and we mentioned a little bit of stuff off the ice, what's one thing, maybe two things, however you want to go, that fans don't know about you, that they might not get to know about you from just watching you play hockey?
You put me on the spot here.
I'm putting you on the spot.
God, that's a good question. I'm trying to think. I have it's a guilty pleasure with horrible reality TV. I'd say there's an off ice one. God, I don't know.
Any shows? I know we've had a lot of time. Netflix is surging the last couple of months. Is there anything you kind of
I've destroyed Netflix. There's nothing left on Netflix for me. I've started to force myself to be outside more in the last month here now that things are relaxing a little bit and gotten away from the TV. But other than that, I mean, I like to play a kind of tougher, mean game on the ice. But when it comes down to it off the ice, just kind of a big teddy bear. And I like to chat with people and meet new people. And I'm looking forward to a whole new fan base to be able to do that with.
And lastly here, obviously, you just brought that up, the community involvement here in Worcester that the Railers have a huge hand in. I know that was an attraction for you in becoming a Worcester Railer as well.
Absolutely. I'm coming from a team in Belfast, especially in Europe, a team that relates to their community better than any other organization I've played for. I followed the Railers and I've seen what they've been able to do in the community and the awards that you guys have won over the past couple of seasons. And really looking forward to jumping and diving in head first in all of that stuff and starting pretty soon here, hopefully with this announcement.
Well, Jordan, I want to thank you so much for your time here today. And we look forward to seeing you on the ice and look forward to seeing you out in the community in Worcester. Best of luck, and be sure to keep in touch, and we'll see you come the fall.
Sounds good. It was good chatting with you today.
Take care, Jordan.
All right. Thanks, Cam.